What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Stock Hustle channel with your boy William. Today is Monday, January 17th, 2022, Martin Luther King Day. As always, to get the formalities out of the way, please understand nothing that is discussed on the channel is financial advice. It is simply financial education that I hope to provide to people so that they understand they don't have to slave in 9 to 5s. You can easily hustle 24/7 in the market and still accomplish all those financial goals you've set for yourself. As with anything else, you're always going to get out whatever you choose to put in. I don't know why I always get stuck on that part. It's always kind of funny. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the play that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention for this week, or one of the plays that I'm watching specifically for this week. It's going to be BYND, otherwise known as Beyond Meat Incorporated. It is a plant-based alternative to specifically meat, obviously, as you can tell from the name. This play has been trading in the stock market essentially since the week of April 29th, 2019. As you see from its inception, it opened up at $45.48 trading and has rocketed specifically to the sky, peaking at $239.27 as of July of 2019. Obviously, before you can see falling back down to grace around the holiday November timeframe, right? It dipped back down all the way through the end of 2019 to the start of 2020 before it did a little run up. Obviously, as with anything else in the market at the start of 2020, it was affected by COVID and that massive COVID dip that you see here in the chart specifically for the week of March 16th, where it did fall back down essentially into this inception channel that I'm going to name, or I'm going to coin, this $45.48 channel, right? But again, after most companies did with COVID, right, all of them essentially went back on these massive run-ups, right? What I want you to take away from the chart specifically is that essentially 80% of the company's been trading essentially above this $95.95 area of support, right? 95% of the trading has been done above that, right? Very little has been done below that. Let's just be fair, call it 90 and 10, right? 10% of the trading has been done below this $95.95 area of support, right? That's an important takeaway, right? Because that tells you where the stock wants to be, right? When we're looking at current times, right, as you see, this was the peak of January 25th, so essentially almost a year ago. We peaked out again at that 221.26 that you see here in the chart before obviously bleeding off the entirety of the year to where we are current, right? As you see, currently we're sitting at $66.58. Once again, we are now in this 58.14 to 73.82 channel where we've essentially been consolidating over the last essential 7 weeks, right? So a month and 2 weeks, right? Give or take, right? Early November, let's call it, I think is what that was, to be specific. Yeah, November 29th, specifically when we fell into this channel. But recently, if you paid attention to the media, you've seen a lot of reporting on Beyond Meat, right? Starting new affiliations with big food chains, right? Which is an important takeaway to note specifically for Beyond Meat. Additionally, using unusual wells, I did see some very bullish trades come through for Beyond Meat on my single leg watch list, which caught my attention first and foremost. When I went digging, obviously it made me even more bullish on the play, right? Which is why I'm making this video, to bring it to everybody's attention, right? Because I want people to be exposed to it if it's something you wish to partake in it. As me, in my opinion, I do see this as currently sitting in a floor, because again, the last time we were in this specific channel or in this specific price range was back in COVID dip, which was March of 2020, right? Outside of that, we have never come back into this channel until currently, right? And as you see, we are consolidating in this channel, which is also usually indicative of a run-up, which will ensue after consolidating, right? You always want to see a stock build a floor before it starts to climb the stair back out of this channel, right? But let's get into the website so we can do a little DD on it, right? Specifically, so Beyond Meat does have a website you can visit. Again, they offer meat alternatives for all products you might be interested in consuming that are meat. Burgers, ground meat, sausage, meatballs, chicken, right? They're trying to provide people a healthy, safe alternative to specifically meat. If you go into their mission section, obviously you see a lot of athletes do advocate for them. You saw Chris Paul and his son. You see Kyrie Irving, right? A lot of people do advocate on behalf of Beyond Meat because of the benefits that they offer for eating plant-based versus eating meat, right? Some for the environment, helps fight climate change, as you see, helps humans eat healthier, preserve natural resources, help animal lives live better lives, right? Specifically, right? There's just some of the things in their specific mission that they advocate on. But again, they have a pretty good I guess what you would call mission statement specifically, I think it's pretty respectable that a company wants to not only be healthy but wants to provide alternatives and at the same time be eco-friendly, right? Very few, I think, meat providers can actually state that. There's a bunch of documentaries you can look up on the effects on climate change due to mass producing of animals for slaughter. I would definitely encourage any of you to check that out if you haven't already. It's kind of surprising, honestly, when you look into it, the mass differences from being eco-friendly to not eco-friendly, right, and the impacts that can have. If you're part of the EV hype or are into EVs, you most definitely have to tune into this or pay attention to this at least, because this plays a big part too, right? You can't just be one-sided on the EV and not all of it, right? It doesn't go hand in hand, but it's affiliated in a way, right? But specifically when you go into their learn section, right, it gives you a newsroom specifically that you can attach yourself to, and you kind of see some of the most recent press releases. Some of the most recent was this Pizza Hut affiliation that they did for Canada Pizza Huts and offering the BYND Meat Italian sausage in specific locations across Canada. We recently had, beginning in January, this KFC deal that they dropped. I believe it was for 70 or 100 locations across the US, right, to do this Beyond Meat for KFC. In October, they had this Panda Express across locations in the US, or 70 locations nationwide, excuse me. They did break into the breakfast segment, right? And as you see, that there's been press release after press release after press release, right? One of the good things about companies that are new, essentially, that they need to do is build a following for them to essentially take off. You can definitely see the progression Beyond Meat since its inception in 2020 or 2019 till now specifically, and it's only growing and getting bigger and bigger, right? If you go to their international section, they also have some international news that they've made recently with the release of this information on December 20th that they are building an R&D or Research and Development Center in Shanghai, China, right? To provide other healthy alternatives to meat specifically. That's good in two ways, right? Number one, you always want to see a company put or invest in themselves to produce better alternatives or better products for their clients. But additionally, it gives them a foothold in the Asian market, right? Asian markets are already essentially exposed to meat alternatives through tofu, right? If you consume Asian or an Asian diet, or if you've ever consumed Asian restaurants, you always see that they do offer a meat alternative. So this just kind of goes hand in hand in getting them into that market. Really good idea on their part. Additionally, they did release that they had signed 2 board members away from Tyson Foods, which is a chicken or meat producer specifically, and they added them to their board specifically to help spread the European expansion and their worldwide expansion, right? To help with that department, right? They did have a couple. They've had a lot of really good releases of news, right? Again, it's just something that I frequently have noticed pops up in the media from time to time, right? And with that, it keeps them relevant, right? Because they're not going away. It's just building strength, in my opinion, to be honest. And the chart kind of shows you that as well. But lastly, what I wanted to talk about in the video today was the flow specifically on Beyond Meat, right? So initially what caught my attention was I have on the flow page a watch list that I watch specifically that has defaulted single leg trades, right? So essentially it's this flow list with single leg turned on, which is $25,000 premium, bid, ask, call, put, all turned on specifically. And what I saw was that on January the 10th specifically, if I could get there, there was a bullish trade for a sold put, and this was the first one that caught my attention. It was for this 145 for January 21st, this one right here. And when I saw it, at first it didn't have all these other dates in front of it, right? Obviously, but I saw that there was 959 open interest already sitting on the play, right? And I saw that trade, and it kind of just caught my attention to go looking, right? That's when I went into the intraday analysis page, and when I went looking, I found even more, right? As you see here, you see a $60 put. Now some of these are extended out for like January 2024 or January 2023. But the point is, it's still a bullish trade, right? Sometimes we kind of negate these further out extended trades because we think, oh, they're way outside of anything relevant now. Yeah, but you also have to remember, not just because it says 2024 doesn't mean they're going to hold it till 2024. They could apply it now for 2024 as a backup contingency if it fails now, and they always have until 2024 to get rid of it. But if it runs up 50 or 40, 50, 60, 70, $80, I doubt they'll leave that much profit sitting on a table for that extended period of time. I'm pretty confident into thinking, just like we wouldn't hold it till then, they wouldn't either, right? As in hedge funds or big banks or big time institutional investors, right? But aside from that, on the call side, it was also very bullish. As you see here, for the most active change, you do have a lot of call strikes that are in green, specifically with high open interest. This 100 for January 2021, as you see, has 5,200 contracts in open interest, another 8,500 in volume. I will be watching for this Tuesday or tomorrow morning to see how much of this volume stuck to this open interest, right? The 75 is the same, 6,500 contracts in open interest with an additional 4,800 in volume, right? Again, it's building a lot of bullish momentum specifically, right? It was way more bullish beginning of last week prior to Friday's trading day, as a lot of put volume did came in, or bearish volume did come in to offset it, right? Because it was leaning 60-40, bullish premium to bearish premium, and now it's sitting essentially 50-50 or 40-50, essentially close neck and neck. But it still is showing that it is very bullish at that 70 specifically for this week's expiration, which is why I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. When you go down a little bit, right, this is the piece that I'm talking about specifically. Choose your expiration, obviously January 21st, 2022, 100 strikes to show on the chart. And what do you see at the peak? It's 110 is what's alerting essentially, right? On the bullish side, you see that the 80 and the 70 are alerting to be the highest, but on the put side, right, you see that this 110, right? Well, again, we're sitting at 66. 110 is well above 66. When you look at the options chain specifically, there are heavy sold puts on the put side at these 100, 80, 90, 70 strike that are way up there, way outside of our price range where we are now, right? Going down a little bit, again, it gives you some downgrades, some upgrades on price targets, some more news stories here, right? As I already discussed, the upcoming earnings isn't on Unusual Wells, but I did go ahead and pull it. It's estimated to be February 24th, something to also keep into consideration, right? As that is an important date, as we are entering our new earnings season for this year specifically. Going down, I like to look at this specific bar charts as well. The Greek breakdown, you can always default it by open interest and then by strike, and it's always going to tell you where the most open interest is. Once again, you see that that 75 is peaking on both the call and the put side, and that 120 as well. Honorable mention would get the 80 and also the 90, right? Something to keep into mind. When you go into the flow specifically, right, we'll take this single leg off so that we get all legs, 250 preset, right? Only 25,000 premium, and go check out the charts. And what do we see? We see that we are very bullish for January 2021. What strikes are alerting? You have the 60, the 70, and that 150 that are catching your attention, or should catch your attention right away, right? Outside of that, you do have these August 2022, but again, just because a contract was bought for September and this stock runs up today or tomorrow, don't think for 1 second they're going to hold it until September to cash that out. I guarantee you, just like you would, they will do the same exact thing, right? But again, the point is the bullish sentiment behind the play, because again, once you go down this list, you do see a lot of sold puts. Sold put for 90, as you see, open interest sitting at 6,900 contracts. Again, very bullish. If you go down further and to the 74, once again, we had well, this one actually was the 2014 or the 14th. Let's look at the 21st. What was that other 21st? Oh, the 65, excuse me. 6,200 contracts, once again, in open interest. Looking at the, what was the other one that I wanted to point out? That 75 we just saw. You see that it has 7,500 contracts sitting in open interest with another 346 in volume. It'll be interesting again to see how much of that rolls over tomorrow morning at open. But again, I think you guys get the point. I am very bullish on this play. Looking at the chart specifically, I do, in my opinion, see this as being a floor. Where if we do break to the downside, our downside is only down to that 45.48, or essentially that 58.14. But if that didn't hold, it would be 45.48 as all-time lows. Again, that's back when it first started trading. But again, I don't see that happening just based on the history of the stock, right? I do understand that it is in a downtrend. I do understand we are trading below the 100 and the 200 MA, as well as the 20 MA. But again, we are building a floor, as you can see in the chart and consolidating. And if you look into the option chain specifically, as I had alluded to, in the anything past essentially what 70, you see that it is extremely bullish on the put side, right? You have 6,000 contracts sitting at 80. You have 3,100 contracts sitting at 85. You have 6,900 contracts sitting at 90. You have 10,000 sitting at 100. You have 100 or 12,000 contracts sitting at 110. on the put side alone, right? So just something to consider, as you did see from the flow. I am very bullish on this play for this week, so it will be something that I'm watching. Again, I like it for calls above 58.14, puts below 58.14, if that makes it simple. Again, if you guys have any questions, as always, don't forget to leave it down in the comments below. Don't forget, you can always hit me up on Twitter or IG. Until then, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.